All right, we will bring the September 7th, 2022 Village of Holly Parks Commission meeting to order. Can I get a roll call?
Peltonen.
Here.
McCanny.
Here.
Hutchins.
Here.
Berger.
Here.
Summers.
Here.
Rankin.
Here. Does anybody have any changes to the agenda? Otherwise, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'd like to add something to the agenda.
What would you
Under
like to add?
general business, I think we need to discuss what's going on with our council liaison. I'd like to
Discussion,
have discussion about
of-
that.
filling our 7th slot with council liaison.
Year's almost over.
Yeah, we only have one more meeting this year.
And I have something too. It probably goes under the park cleanup for, but I want to bring up the free gloves thing. So
Okay. Yeah,
there's
bring
just
that
a
up under,
shipping charge, and I want to have that resolved. And then,
we'll bring that up under
Okay.
number 4 in old
all
business.
right, thank you.
That sounds like a good idea. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended with the item of discussing filling our empty seat with a council liaison. Anyone feel like supporting that?
Support.
All right. We have a motion by Mr. Hutchins, support by Mr. Summers. Can I get a roll call?
McCanny.
Yes.
Hutchins.
Yes.
Summers.
Yes.
Berger.
Yes.
Peltonen.
Yes.
Rankin.
Yes. You also have last month's minutes before you. If nobody has any questions, comments, or changes, we should make a motion to approve the minutes for last month's meeting.
I can make the motion to approve last month's meeting minutes.
Second.
Motion by Ms. McCanny, support by Mr. Summers. Can I get a roll call?
Berger.
Yes.
Peltonen.
Yes.
McCanny.
Yes?
Hutchins.
Yes.
Summers.
Yes.
Rankin.
Yes. Do we have any public comment tonight? Seeing none, hearing none, we will move on to old business. Number 1, the master plan. This is kind of my baby at this point. Everybody's turned in their changes and wish lists. I am quarter of the way through putting all the information together.
I have my changes that I didn't turn in last month.
Oh. Well, all right then. Well, I hadn't gotten to your section yet, so.
Well, there you go. Perfect. Glad I didn't hold you up. So these are, I Xeroxed the changes that I made.
Okay.
And then, in my section, there's, this section on our public input, and we need to get those things scheduled.
Yes.
Last time, we had, quite a bit of public input that we worked on. We did surveys at Downtown Movie Night, we did surveys at Longest Market Day, we did surveys at just different community events. We also held a public workshop, and we hosted a public meeting. I think we should do that.
I agree. I think the next 2 events that we have scheduled would be good places to improvise some workshops, or at least solicit some suggestions from the public.
Yes.
So, we have some forms that were already printed up for the workshop from, gosh, I don't know, in the spring sometime that we did.
Yeah.
And we can just use that same format, or even maybe the same forms, to solicit some suggestions from the public at both Holly Days and Halloween.
I think so too. I think if we can set up just a little booth, but we will need help with, having that done. I can't, run a booth like that if I'm doing the events. But we need somebody just to, solicit for the participation. If we just set them, we can just set the questionnaires in our info booth, but in reality, we're probably not gonna get any feedback. Nobody's gonna come up and look for questionnaires to fill out on their own. But if we have somebody walking around with a clipboard and just asking people, do you live in the village? Do you mind filling out a survey about our parks? And try to get as many filled out surveys as possible. That would be good. We've
Well, I
done
can-
that before at fireworks, or 4th of July fireworks, and like, majority of that crowd do not live in the village.
Right.
That's funny, yeah.
So
Yeah, I think Halloween and Holly Days will be a lot of village residents.
Yeah. Car show,
Well,
I
I-
think, is a lot of non-village
Yeah.
residents.
Yep.
Okay. I can help Saturday from 2 to 4.
Okay. Perfect.
And then I'll have a stack of them, and as I'm wandering around doing things, I can, while I'm not doing something
Yeah.
else,
Yeah.
I can solicit
Yeah,
from people
maybe-
wandering
maybe-
around.
We
Okay.
should try to do that same thing, have a couple people, or split it up for Halloween. Halloween's only 3 hours, but,
Still a
and then
lot of
also,
people.
we can also probably, get permission from Diana at the farmer's market to do it there. I think that's a lot of local people go to the farmer's market.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just to
That
try to
sounds
get as
pretty
much, we
solid.
wanna generate as much public input as we can for our next
I'll
plan.
work with Chris, 2 to 4.
Which Chris?
I'll help.
I'll be there
All
from
day,
12.
Chris,
I'll be
or
there from 12
2
to
to 4
5. So
Chris?
With the survey.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
So then you guys,
Yeah, we can just do it together, that'd be fun.
yeah, are you working before 2? Are you working on Saturday?
No,
Because it starts at noon, if you can come and do it even earlier, that'd be great, over in Play Day.
the survey, at noon.
If you can. Well,
At
the
Creek
crowd,
Road?
yeah, the crowd's gonna be the biggest at noon, because it's gonna be a free hot dog lunch,
Okay.
so. Do you wanna just stand in the hot dog line?
right, because
Go
people
right
are just
down
going
the
to be
line.
standing in line waiting for those
Gonna
hot
be the
dogs.
locals that know about that.
Okay.
But yeah, if you can, if you're willing, if you're able to.
So that gives us 2 good opportunities for some workshops. We also have to schedule a formal public hearing,
Yes.
and then we have to approve the draft at a regular meeting. Then we have to have the plan available for the public to view in conspicuous places. Last year we had them at the village offices, Township Hall, Township Library. And it has to be available for viewing for at least 30 days. Then there has to be a second public hearing prior to the council adopting the plan. So best case scenario, we're looking at adopting this in March.
Yeah.
And that's if we fast track. So here's what I'm going to suggest. I'm going to suggest we do the 2 workshops with the public input at Holly Days and Halloween. That puts us through the end of October, which is also past our last meeting.
Do we call that a workshop,
Do we call what a
or
workshop?
is it just taking surveys? I remember that.
I don't think there's any formal requirement that they are actual workshops, but you must solicit public input. It doesn't specify, the plan, or the requirements don't specify how that public input is generated.
Yes.
So then what I'm gonna suggest is that we schedule a formal public hearing for sometime in November. So that we can then
Before Dickens?
adopt the draft at our January meeting.
Yes. I think that sounds great.
So, either the beginning, well, we should probably do it at the beginning of December, quite honestly, because after we do all this public input at the end of October, it'll probably take me a couple of weeks to compile, yeah.
We can also,
Compile all that information,
we can also put together an online survey through, the
Survey Monkey.
Facebook- Yeah, yeah, and also through the Facebook page, which we didn't have those tools back in 2015. when
That's
we did
true.
this.
So we can solicit information that way as well. So then I'm gonna say we schedule a formal public hearing sometime in December. I don't know,
So.
the first 2 weeks, sometime in
what
the
are you
first
ta-
couple of
What is
weeks.
it you're talking about for November?
Me putting the rest of the public input into a format that'll work with the plan. And then we've gotta get the plan, I don't know, rejiggered so that it's all compiled like it is in that booklet. and then printed.
So not do a public meeting in November, but do
No.
it in December.
Well, yeah, I don't want to do it, because I don't want to do it at the end of November because it's Thanksgiving.
Right.
I don't want to do it at the beginning of November because I need some time to put these things together. So if we do it after Thanksgiving,
Well, then you're into Dickens though. On every weekend, and then after Dickens is like Christmas.
well, I mean, the other option is waiting until January for the formal hearing. We could, which wouldn't, I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world, it'd just be another month. And then we get approved in April.
Well, because you were talking about doing a weekend thing, right? Doing it on the weekend, or are you talking about a weekday?
The formal public hearing, you know what the requirements of a public hearing for something like that are? Does it have to be during the week? Does it matter when it is? Brian, do you know?
I mean, normally our public hearings are during the week. I mean, if you-
Right, they're normally
But I
before
don't-
a council meeting.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if there's any stipulations about where you just have to, if you have a public hearing, you have to give 18 hours
Right,
notice.
it has to be advertised in the
Yeah, the
Tri-County Times and, you know, all the normal
posted
places.
and, yeah, 18 hours before the meeting, that kind of stuff.
If we did it during the week, I don't think it matters if I just don't want to do it on the weekend and compete with Dickens. I will have a really hard time being present.
Well, then why don't we plan on, I mean, it would be,
When we did a weekday.
the second Tuesday in December is the 13th.
That's
If-
council.
Right, if we did the public hearing prior to council. I mean, how do we get
Just-
approval to have something like that done?
Just coordinate that with Debbie,
Okay,
because she sets Debbie and Jerry set the council agenda, so
telling
Debbie
them,
would be able to tell you if there's.
you think having a public hearing prior to the December 13th, you think that's enough notice between now and December? I mean, it's only September, that's 3 months away.
Yeah, so it should be.
Okay, I'm gonna pencil in December 13th for the formal public hearing, and I'll contact the administration and find out if that's acceptable.
What do we do at a formal public hearing?
You say, here's our plan, does anybody have any comments? And when nobody comes up and says anything, you say the public hearing is over and let's go on to council.
That's it.
So our biggest hurdle is gonna be just getting it promoted enough to get attendance.
If nobody attends and if there's a public hearing and nobody attends for the public hearing, you still had the public hearing.
Yeah, he opens it
It
up,
still counts.
nobody makes a comment, and then they just close it.
Yeah, and a lot of public hearings go that way.
Got it. Okay, so there's not a whole bunch of prep, okay, good. I just was trying to think with what all we have to do to prep for it and be ready.
We just have to have the plan, the draft, ready.
Got it.
It just has
So
to be,
that's
it
why
just
you
has to
don't
be
wanna do it
complete
in
like this.
November.
Exactly, it's gotta be complete like this.
That makes sense.
Is that gonna give you, don't you have to have it, for 30 days? So are you gonna have it ready by November 13th, so you have the 30-day window
So you've gotta have one public hearing prior to it being available. So you gotta have a public hearing, then we approve it, the draft at a regular meeting, and then it has to have another public hearing, and then it has to be available it has to be available for 30 days and then a second public hearing.
Okay.
So, first public hearing, approve the draft at a meeting, available to the public for 30 days, second public hearing.
But you don't have a meeting in November or December, so Parks won't be able to approve the draft.
Well, we wouldn't have the first formal public hearing until December anyways.
Right, but you don't have a meeting to approve the draft in November or December.
Right, we don't
So you
approve,
wouldn't
we
get-
approve the draft after the first public hearing.
Oh, okay, I thought, I'm sorry. I thought you said you had to approve it, then
Nope.
have the first public hearing.
No, we approve it after the first public hearing, which we could do, the public hearing in December, approve it in January, have it available for 30 days, and then have the second public hearing. And then we would adopt.
And then submit it. After all
And then
that.
it's valid, yes. And then it has, I think administration handled
Has to
that last
be-
time where it got submitted to the state or the county.
For sure.
I don't have any notes on that process, so I'm pretty sure I handed it
I'm sure
off.
probably it either went under consent agreement or consent agenda, or was presented by Jerry as a council action request, and then
Yep.
and then whatever had to go from there was done.
Right, it
administratively.
got approved by council and then submitted to the county or the state or
Yeah,
both.
whatever, yeah. And I think we just have to have it on file. I don't think you have to submit it unless you're applying for a grant. You just have to have an approved plan.
Right,
So,
and I think that's correct.
We need to make a lot more money with this next 5-year plan.
Right, because the last one didn't do us any good. So, okay, so that's our 5-year plan. That's where we're at with it. If nobody has any further comments, we can move on to holidays.
Sarah?
Sarah, this is your baby. I'll let you.
This is
Fill
not
us in
my-
on the-
This is not my baby. I've been doing a lot on it, but I don't
You've been
want-
trying to put
I
this
am
baby
not-
up for adoption for a while.
I have been. I don't know what's the problem.
It's a big baby.
So, everything is pretty much all coming together. We do still need help with volunteers. We do still need help with there's a couple of loose ends that still have to get resolved. But for the most part, the holidays footprint and the holidays agenda will be very similar to what we've done in the past. It's really low-key community event. That's really not like something that it's just a celebration of Holly for Holly residents. It's really not anything we've reached out farther to try to, not like Dickens' agenda, for instance, where they're trying to bring people from all over. Everything seems to be kind of coming together. It'll be very much like what it was the last time.
Good deal.
Which means hectic.
Thank you very much.
Hectic for all the volunteers. But it's always a fun time.
Yes.
It's, we always sweat the details on it, and then when the day comes around, most of the things fall into place and everybody has a great time.
Yes. Let's hope it goes that way.
Okay.
And hopefully
And
the
it's
weather
this
works
Saturday.
out for us. Yes, this
And
Saturday and Sunday.
Are there any Friday night events?
No.
So, Saturday and Sunday.
Yep, that's it.
Anybody have anything further, questions, comments on holidays? This Saturday and Sunday. Sunday. Sorry. Number 3, Halloween. How is that coming along? Do we have businesses on board?
Some, yep. That is off to kind of a slow start because I've been focusing everything on Holly Day. But pieces are coming together. We do have funds coming in for different aspects of it. We have confirmed that we'll have the tractor rides by the Yesteryear Tractor Club this year.
Mm-hmm.
And the plan is to just do the same thing we've been doing with the trick-or-treating downtown, and then bring everybody over to the park for a celebration in the park of kind of an old-fashioned Halloween with a bonfire. I did talk to Chief McGee. The fire department's going to do a bonfire there. They'll supervise it and then extinguish it at the end. Katrina's going to head up the costume contest this year. So all of that stuff will kick into that right after holidays. And then we'll do cider and donuts. That has to get arranged still. I have not reached out and made those contacts that have for the people that have done that in the past. But yeah, we do have. I did update the information on the Facebook on social media. We did submit the special event packet for the event this week, and then we also have. I have reached out to the merchants, the downtown merchants already, and made sure that it was on their radar, date, time, and who's participating. I'm getting feedback already on that. So, I mean, it's well underway, but yeah, I'll focus on that more after this weekend.
All right.
What date is that again? I'm sorry.
It's always the Saturday before Halloween.
Saturday before Halloween.
And this is our 27th annual celebration
Right.
this year.
Yeah, so, oops.
It's like
So it'll be the
30th
29th.
or 29th, yeah.
3 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Yep. We pack a lot of fun into 3 hours,
We do.
and the donuts are usually gone by 4.
Yep, one per person, and we're gonna have to keep Rick Summers away from the table. In case you're listening, Rick.
All right, moving on. Number 4, park cleanup. Now, we had talked about scheduling another cleanup day for the fall or winter so that we could address some of the vines at Waterworks.
Yeah, I think we should focus on Waterworks again, because let's get her done, you know.
Well,
We're
yeah, I
coming
mean-
close. We might need 2 more to do it, but, you
Yeah.
know, so.
And as an aside, it does appear that whoever's mowing has been mowing much closer to the trees. Thank you very much.
I made that observation too. It looks much nicer.
Yeah,
They've been getting right up along the tree line and not having that 6-foot buffer of brush between the,
He said there is some stumps still in some of the areas, so if there's grass, that's why it's there, because there's still some stuff that needs. to be
yeah, I mean, I know there was some issues, but by and large, we could have done a lot better than we were, and now we're doing better, so I appreciate that.
and
Let's make a note of that though, and we can probably plan to get things out of there so that so there aren't barriers for mowing,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
and maybe
If
when
there's
we
stumps in
plan the
ground
cleanup,
or just pieces of wood or.
and then maybe when we plan our cleanup, we can scope out where those problem areas are
Right.
and go from there.
So, Chris Summers, what would be the most opportune time of the year to get in there
if
and
anytime,
handle that stuff?
When the
Anytime.
leaves drop off.
Yeah.
That's not true
Yeah.
because we picked a bad time last
it
time.
was too early. in the
That was
year.
not
Yeah.
opportune.
Yeah.
Well, no,
It's
no,
a
I
terrible
mean,
day.
anytime from now on, like,
Okay.
You
yeah.
still have
no.
scars.
No, what I meant is anytime, you know, probably anytime in October would be really good. 'Cause it's cool, it's not hot, and yeah, it would be good, so,
Even early November.
yeah,
Does it matter if it's before or after the leaves have fallen?
no, we're good, just,
Well, by the time November rolls around, we usually don't have too many leaves left.
we'll probably,
Right,
yeah.
yeah. But if early October, we still do though.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
So-
if we wait till December, it might be really cold, so, yeah, I suggest October, early November.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay.
Like the first or second Sunday in November.
Yeah.
Daylight savings time is November 6th. And otherwise, I think that would be fine. On daylight savings.
That'd be a good time to do it, because you get the extra,
sleep
wait,
in.
did we
Little
lose or
recovery
gain?
time.
Wait,
Fall back.
yeah,
Right.
so, I
So
mean,
we
if you
gain
did it in
an
the
hour.
morning, you'd actually get to sleep longer, right?
Well, you get an extra hour of sleep Saturday night.
Yeah, right.
So it'd be like so we should really set it for 8 AM instead of 9 AM, is that what you're saying? Yeah, that would be
Well,
good
no,
for me to do it
Because if
early.
we set it at 8,
Yeah.
then so if we set it at 9, people would show up early if they didn't turn their clocks back.
And then they'd leave and not come.
But it'll feel
Yeah,
like
let's
10
leave
minutes.
it at 9. 9's a good time to start.
Yeah. I think
So on the
9 o'clock's
6th, does
always
that
good.
work for you guys? Does anybody have any prior commitments on November 6th?
Nope.
I think so.
It's before Dickens, so that works for me.
I don't. It will be the priority.
I'm going to leave mine at 8.
November 6th.
I gotta write that one down too.
Oh, it's running out of ink though, sorry.
It's all right. I know.
I'm gonna need to give myself
don't
an
have it.
alert for that.
Yeah. We've done so many of them, I type in
Wake up
P
that
in
morning
one of
like,
my
"Oh,
choices.
shoot, look what I missed already.
Click at the date.
So on that note, the gloves that you wanna order, how long would they take to get in?
Oh, the gloves?
Yeah.
Yeah, here, well, that's a good question. I have the email. Her name's Sarah. She's from the Stewardship Network.
Mhm.
Something I found online quite a little while back. We are able to provide G-Tech gloves in the quantities you requested. I forget what that was. But she does not have cotton gloves. My apologies for the confusion. Okay, for the G-Tech gloves, 10 of each size, 40 total. The shipping cost is $11.70. Since we're able to get the cotton gloves, would you be interested in getting 25 each of G-Tech gloves, 100 total? The cost for shipping, again, is $17.77. So basically, 100 gloves, $6.77, or 40 gloves, $11.70 to ship them. She wants to know, she emailed me back the other day, and I said, well, we have a meeting in next week, so I'll bring it up. And so, you
last
wanna
time
do
you-
that? Should we vote on it?
I'm gonna make the motion that we approve the $17 expenditure to get the 100 sets of,
100
the 100 pairs of gloves,
Okay.
because these look like sweet gloves. I'm looking at them online, they're the full rubber.
Oh, you went right to the
I
Stewardship
just,
Network's
I just
website?
Googled G-Tech gloves. and-
Okay.
So before we make a motion on that, I wanted to let you know that when you brought that up at the last Parks meeting, Scott, who was present, Scott Schillig, he said, I'll get you some gloves for free, I already got them. Well, he dropped them off to my house, and
Oh, okay.
I got a giant garbage bag of them.
Oh,
Oh,
So,
well, there's news.
we can do that when we run out of these, but there's small, medium, and large
Yeah.
sizes, and they're the
The
cotton with
brown
the,
jersey gloves.
like that,
okay.
Well, they're the rubberized ones?
yeah.
Oh, well, then maybe
So
we don't
just-
even need to bother.
So, do you
Then
wanna
we
just
won't
use
bother.
those for
Well,
the
yeah.
time being? Okay.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
got.
if it's a
yeah,
garbage
I
bag
mean,
full of them,
Yeah.
It
I
is.
mean, that's probably 100 pairs right there.
Yeah, that's.
Thank you,
fine.
Scott.
Yeah.
Yes.
He also brought over, there's also respiratory masks, and then, I think it was sanitizer.
Some long sleeve shirts.
No, no bodysuits.
Maybe get a beekeeper suit from Dave.
Okay. Well, I'll just email her back and say, never mind.
Yeah.
Well,
Don't need 'em.
but when we need to replace
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
that's a great
Yeah.
deal,
Yeah.
still,
Maybe say
Yeah.
not at this time.
But yeah. that's,
yeah. Okay,
okay.
Just let her know we were able to find another source, and
Yep.
we'll
Yeah.
contact her next
Yeah.
year when
Yeah.
we need them again, because I'm sure we'll go through them.
All right. Let's-
Okay, so that concludes the park cleanup section. Moving on to the new item added to general business, the discussion of filling our empty seat with a council liaison.
great.
Brian, I don't know, do we just need to forward a request to council to ask them to take some action?
Well, I know that November is an election, and
Yep.
the current president is not running, and the current, or the former council liaison is not running. So I believe the thought process was to allow the new president to appoint someone to parks, and whoever, because there's gonna be
Yeah.
four open seats on council.
Right.
So depending on who ran for council, a lot of the boards and commissions may change. So instead of appointing someone that may not be there 2 months from now and have to do it all over again, they were gonna wait till after the.
Right, I mean, we only have one more meeting this
Right,
year.
so.
I mean,
Yeah,
we've been
that
waiting.
makes sense.
So,
But we also, though, have quite a few things we're still doing before the end of the year. It'd be nice to have all of us, all seats filled, and all
Yeah.
hands available,
It would, but chances are they're not gonna be there after next month.
yeah.
Yeah, at this point. I mean, it would have been nice a couple months ago to.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Several,
we've
yeah,
been
spend
without
most of the
Scott
year.
for 6 months, or Scott.
See, you don't even remember his name.
Rick.
Sorry, Rick. I was thinking of Scott and the gloves. Well, so I guess we'll just hold on council liaison until our January meeting.
yeah, and I'm
hope
sure
that
that
we have
after the
somebody by
November
then.
election, the new president, there'll be several positions and boards they'll have to fill, so I'm sure that'll be one of the first things that get addressed.
Okay, well, then we'll just expect a new member in January. Any other reports for us?
I did meet last week with a playscape contractor. Good news and bad news. With
Good.
COVID, they are behind. I requested that he try to give me a quote by today. He said with the holiday and everything else going on, it would be unlikely, and it was unlikely. The bad news is that we'll probably have to continue with softball, because to put the rubberized decking in is $25 per square foot.
Okay,
So, based on the size, the current size of what we have, you would be looking at probably about $100,000 just for the rubberized matting before we looked at a play structure. The good news is the play company that I'm dealing with, they are, he says they're offering a dollar match right now. So, the $100,000 or more that we would be able to put up, that company would match. So he said getting a play structure similar in size would not be an issue. So I requested that he give me something in red and white so that it's Holly colors, so that we can take a look at that. And he said with the new designs, we would be able to remove that cement platform that's used for an ADA ramp, because all the newer structures are ADA compatible without a ramp. They're able to pull up to it and access
Right.
it that way. So we would be able to eliminate that ramp, which is, you know, taking a beating over time through vandalism and, you know, stuff like that. So as soon as I get that, then I will forward the information or bring it to the next meeting, and we can go from there.
Have you considered the possibility of making the softball area smaller than the wood chip area? And going with softball, but just
If
not as
we-
far out?
If we go smaller, then the play structure has to be smaller.
Not smaller than the play structure, but does it have to be as far out as it goes
Yeah,
with
you have
wood
to
chips?
allow, I believe it's a 10-foot fall area past the farthest piece of equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have slides and stuff like that, you gotta be able to account for, you know, a small to medium-sized child being able to
Yeah, yeah.
take everyone off of that.
Does it have to be 10 feet from the farthest? So if the slide comes out, does it have to be a perfect circle all the way around with the
Well, then
farthest
we're
dimension
talking
being out?
about removing existing concrete and changing the landscaping up there, so then you increase the cost of that. Because right now, there's a circle sidewalk around that existing play structure. So
Yeah.
you change that, then you change what's existing. which
Well, without
increase-
changing the sidewalk, could we have grass and then softball closer? I'm just thinking,
Well, we
grass
already-
grows for a lot cheaper than $25 a foot.
Well, $25 a foot is for the plastic. Softball is about, last time, I don't know if it's gone up, but the last time was about $2,000 for a train load, which
And
covered.
you're talking about like that spongy ground?
Yes.
That's just all one, like, it's a
Right,
piece
but it's on top
plastic,
of a
right?
concrete platform, isn't it?
No, it's dirt underneath, and then there's footings around each of those larger poles.
Yeah.
So, and I asked him, I said, well, what about retrofitting the existing, say, infrastructure and just replacing the components around these poles? He says those are obsolete and they didn't even make anything that would be compatible with that, so.
Of course they don't.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I also
So-
talked to him about the slide that was snow fenced off, and because of COVID and all that other stuff, and said he was looking to try to get me one of those faster than anything, so we could get that replaced and get that snow fence taken off of there.
That's good thinking. But I guess my query is if seems like that's a really large area that we have wood chips. Without changing the sidewalk, we could leave a circular sidewalk around it, but maybe have a smaller plastic covered area with grass in between the two. Would that be, am I wrong in thinking that circular area is quite a bit more than 10 feet farther than the diameter of the playscape?
Not from the one slide extends out, so I mean, if you start creeping it in, then you're creating an odd shaped
Right, and then
area,
it becomes a
which-
maintenance nightmare.
Which, yeah, becomes, you know, you're blowing grass clippings into wood chips. We've already gotten several complaints about weeds and maintenance of that, so you're just creating more of a maintenance issue by creating islands of grass and then wood chips and then grass.
Sure, right. But not wood chips, if we did the plastic, what do you call that flooring that's like spongy like?
That's $25 a square foot.
That's what I'm talking about. What if we did that with grass in between that and the
I think he's saying it's
sidewalk.
probably not feasible. There's
Well,
not
then
an,
$25
there probably was,
Well, if we
square
didn't do
foot.
the entire circle, maybe it'd be half the cost.
well, right, but to
Or
get,
half the space.
to give yourself a 10-foot buffer around the
Right.
outside of the thing, you're gonna have some tiny.
$25 a square foot is you have to excavate down, have 6 inches of stone, and you have to have a concrete pad, then they put the rubberized on
That's
top of that.
what
So
I
if you
was saying.
start
Yeah, that's
creating
what I'm saying.
islands and pockets like that, then you start forming issues for the cement that's gotta go around where you want the plastic areas, and then. so
Right,
you're-
yeah,
you're
yeah. And then you just got
you
little
increase the
patches of
cost.
grass
It's
and
like
it-
putting a landscape garden at your house. If you want one flat, straight area, it's gonna be a lot cheaper than if you break it up into 6 smaller areas.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it would probably be some pretty small patches of grass anyways.
Right, so then you're just, yeah.
I mean, you'd save 100 square feet, maybe.
But,
Right.
I figured that out, the cost of, even, the cost of putting that padding in is more than $100,000, just without any play structure,
Well, you figure if it's a 50 by 50 area, that's
Yeah.
2,500 square feet,
times 25.
times 25 is, $60,000.
Yeah,
So there's a big chunk of our budget.
right.
And that's the total cost for installing it, not just the cost, that would be the full install.
That would be us
25
prepping the
square
area
foot,
and someone else installing it,
Us prepping it.
yes.
It's not even
So it's more
here,
than
you do it,
25
hands
square
off.
feet.
It's us
Mhm.
doing half the work.
Yeah. As this COVID stuff plays out and the distribution chains and stuff like that have been disrupted, I get sticker shock every time I ask for a quote on something, because with fuel costs, everything, plastic's made from fuel. So as fuel costs stay high, they're still,
Right.
making plastic that was made with $5 a gallon fuel. So, we're eating that cost. So.
Right.
Yep.
Have you looked into the wood play structures like Chris Summers was asking about?
I thought we ruled that out because of safety concerns and maintenance.
Right. I thought we did too.
Oh, okay. I don't understand why we'd have, I mean, I've seen those, they're still up and running from when I was a kid. They're, like the one in Linden is, and then when you have a piece break or go down or get rotten,
But that's a
Go
lot,
to the hardware store
that's
and you
maintained
replace
by a
it.
private group. They have the Kiwanis or Lions Club or something maintains that park in Linden.
but my point is that it's not a safety or like it, we can't really maintain the metal ones because they just decide to discontinue them and then we can't get parts.
Well, we can get components. My thought was to try to save money by using the existing infrastructure. And the new components, we can get a slide that might match up, but to put ramps and railings and all that other stuff, they're not gonna line up with the existing infrastructure. They've reconfigured where the support beams go.
Right. So
And they
then-
do that for a reason,
So then
because when-
maintenance is not possible on those, then if they keep changing up their infrastructure and we can't get parts.
But this existing structure is 25, 30 years old, so.
But the one in Linden is, I think, older than that, and then if parts go bad, we can find wood, we can get wood made.
And then that was all
I
done with
don't think
volunteers,
it's,
so.
I don't think that it's wise for us to just
Almost.
rule out that it's a safety and a maintenance issue, because it's a long-term,
Well, we don't have a group in place willing to construct this for us or maintain it. So, if we're gonna spend the money, then the wood's gonna sit there until we find this group. Cause there's no way that I have a 6-man DPW that can spend 3 to 4 weeks building a play structure.
well, how would the play structure that you're looking at get built?
It would be contracted out.
Wouldn't we do the same thing? What would be the difference if it was wood versus metal?
Then who's gonna maintain it?
Then you'd have to maintain it.
Well,
Yes.
that's what I'm saying, at least we'd have the option of having maintenance done on it if you had to get parts out. Right now, you're telling us that we can't maintain our existing one because they don't make the parts anymore. So it seems to me like maintenance is not really a valid, point if we can't maintain the metal ones either. And you're telling us we can't maintain it.
I did not
You-
say
you
that we could not maintain it.
The
I said
metal
we couldn't
ones
replace.
last up.
Right,
We
which would be
couldn't
the.
replace it.
Well,
and
that's how you
the price
maintain.
of wood has not gotten any cheaper either.
Yeah, wood's bad.
So, I have contractor buddies that have priced out a 20 by 20 deck at $10,000-15,000. We're talking
Yeah.
a 50 by 100 play structure with large pieces of wood. You're gonna, and, we were trying to replace like with like. So if we start changing things, then everything changes, so.
Okay. So we're waiting on, we'll probably have, you think,
Well,
Quotes
hopefully
from
we
them
should
by
have
next
it by the
month?
October meeting. I was hoping to have it by today, and he didn't have enough time. Like he said, with the holiday, it would be close. Because he says they get all kinds of projects. He says they bid on them, thinking that there's gonna be several other bidders. They end up being the only bidder. And then everybody's like, well, we're ready to go. And then there's a lead time to get material, so. He said this was, it's gonna be a spring project, so.
right.
Well, I'm
But he
happy to
thinks
have it done
that-
in the spring.
He thinks we can get something of very comparable size.
He
That's
said
what his-
based on the dollar-to-dollar match, he said it should be close to what we have. So hopefully when he returns he took pictures and he was out there, walked it, so.
Can I ask a dumb question? What's the difference between a dollar-to-dollar match and a half-off sale?
Nothing.
Just a
Is there
marketing way of saying it.
Is there
I think
an
it's,
expiration to that deal?
He didn't say, he said we were in that window by getting a quote, so I'm sure if we get an approved quote, get it moving along, that they'll honor that, so.
yeah, I think it helps. I think doing the dollar for dollar match helps so that they can say, look at this $160,000 play structure we built instead of saying 80,000, and then everybody else knows how expensive play structures are, and they get themselves prepared
Right.
for that high price.
Right.
Instead of, well, how come they got theirs for 80?
Right. Yep.
That's probably exactly why they do that.
Yep. I know my fair share of salespeople. Anything else, Brian?
No, that's it.
All right. Comments from the board. Joe, you've been awfully quiet today.
Tired.
Mm.
Thank you, Brian, for picking up the telephone poles at the ball fields. We're putting good use on that, so that's all I have to report.
Okay. Ms. Berger?
Nope, I mean, we got half the funding, right, for hay rides, and I will, approach the, Legion for the other half of that, so. that's
For
all I have.
Halloween?
For Halloween, for the
Cool.
tractor rides, so. yeah. Nothing else?
Gail?
No.
Nothing further? Mr. Summers?
I got nothing.
Ms. McCanny?
I had a bad report I saw on social media. I tagged you, Brian. I don't know if you saw it. Apparently somebody has taken a hobby of drawing pornography at Lakeside Park.
It was addressed on Tuesday.
Okay, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Are they was that permanent marker or wasn't Crayola washable, was it?
No, but we have.
No such luck.
We have some stuff that was able to remove it, so.
Oh, okay, good, thank you.
Was it a grinder?
No, I had a vendor give me some more graffiti remover because we have a talented, untalented artist, however you want to look at it, that has been tagging a lot of our parks and
Yeah.
bathrooms and areas around town, so.
Yeah, it looked pretty ridiculously graphic. It's not appropriate at all. Thank you very much for getting right on that.
And I have nothing further. Do we have any public comment now that we have concluded the meeting? Hearing none, we will adjourn at 7:43. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you.